Good morning. Good evening to y'all. I believe it's Saturday morning here and Friday night back in the good old US of A, which is under attack by evil, vicious, money grubbing people. One of the guys who used to play in a band with me, Ren Brenton, interesting cat. He would come to practice. He was playing acoustic guitar first in the band, but it was a rock band using amplifiers, and with the drums you really couldn't hear the acoustic guitar. That's what he liked playing. But we wound up eventually convincing him to play bass instead, an electric bass, so we could hear him play. And he was actually a pretty good bass player. Better, in my opinion, better bass player than he was an acoustic guitar player. But he wanted to do what he loved. I get that. But the band needed a bass player, so he became our bass player. He performed at Brewster's with us, and our farewell gig, our first and final gig. Anyway, Ren posted a thing from a guy who's working in the medical field, and he's exhausted. One of my agents' name is Tracy Dudney, and she went up to New York to volunteer. She's a nurse, and they put out the call and said, help us, we're overwhelmed up here. And she's still up there, and she's going to stay up until, I think, the end of May. So things are winding down for her, thank God, but she's been working her butt off. She's absolutely exhausted. The protective gear they have to wear, with the masks and stuff, the plastic, not just the face mask, but the plastic shields it's like a hazmat suit. I mean, she's covered, head to foot to protect herself because she's obviously in close contact with people who have the disease. And she's made several posts where she just said she's exhausted and sweaty and just, dead. So I get where this guy's coming from that posted inside on Ren's timeline, or Ren found it and reposted it. And I absolutely applaud him. And, he talked about how a month ago they were heroes, and now that people are kind of waking up and realizing that this is more about political agenda, and that, yes, there is a virus and it's very real. Nobody's discounting that. Some liberties have been taken away and they're being slow to be given back, and that's a problem. So human beings and our brains are capable of solving more than one problem at a time, and that's what's going on. Is we have a problem with this disease and its spread, but we also have a problem with the government taking advantage of that and overreacting in some cases, being way too slow. And, it makes sense if you think about it. They're politicians, and what they care the most about is what people think about them, because if people think ill, they'll get voted out, and they don't want to get voted out because they like the money, they like the power, they like the glamour, they like being in charge. They have egos. You want to talk ego, freaking President of the United States has the biggest ego of any human being I've ever seen. Right? So they don't want to get voted out. So God forbid they open up the state, which is what the working man needs, the regular guy, not the bigwigs. And I'll get into that in this video too. It's not what you think. A lot of liberals, left-wing people are going, oh no, you money people, you just want to open it. It's not that. I swear to you, it's not that, and I'll explain why. It's the guy who makes $10 an hour. He's the one who needs to work. Hell, I'll get into it right now. So here in Pai, they shut down. We had 4 cases, no deaths. In the entire province, which in Thailand, a province is a state. So Mae Hong Son, the entire province, look it up, 5 cases. 4 in Pai from one guy who came from Bangkok, which is like New York City in Thailand. He drove up, he brought the virus with him, infected his family and a friend. That was 4 cases. 1 other case in the entire state. Province, Mae Hong Son, right? Yet we've been locked down for 2 months. And what's happened right here where my restaurant is on, the main street of Pai, Walking Street, and then this street, is a bunch of businesses have, you want apple cider vinegar? What are you going to do with apple cider vinegar? This ought to be interesting. Yeah, apple cider vinegar with the mother. Yeah. Try, drink. Oh, you're healthy. She's getting there. At first she resisted, but now she drank juice yesterday, even though she's a lot healthier than I am. Try. And now she's doing apple cider vinegar shots. This stuff is great for you guys. It tastes like shit. Yeah, see that face she's making? It's nasty. It tastes like crap. It's vinegar. But it's really good for your body. Yeah, nasty. But, healthy. And juice. Looks like beets today, a lot of beets, that's why it's so red. Beets and carrots in there, cucumber, and the celery to help with the heat. Although right now it's 31 degrees Celsius, which is about 87 Fahrenheit. I'm still getting used to the metric system. I used it in the military, but that was a long time ago, the 80s. So still learning. The money exchange is 32 baht to $1, but somebody says 6,000 baht, it takes me a minute to figure out exactly what that is, or especially the bigger numbers. Somebody selling a piece of land here for 6 million baht. I have a currency calculator on my phone. I had to plug in 6 million baht to see exactly how much that was, because I know easy enough in your head, 200 grand, whatever, you can roughly do it, but when you're talking about that amount of money, you want to know exactly what it is. Because once it went from 30 baht, which it was last year when I was here in November, to 32 baht, 32.3 baht, 32.5 baht, it's going up and down every day. That extra 2 baht, the bigger the number, the more it throws it off. Just like kilos, it's 2.2 pounds per kilo. So once you start getting up there, the bigger the weight, the more that 0.2 matters, right? You can't just multiply by 2. It's good enough for small numbers, but as you get bigger, it gets off. So what's happening on our main street is the small shops, the massage parlor. We already knew about that from a prior video, that shares a parking lot with me, and they share a landlord with me. They closed up shop. The lady came up here with a pickup truck and a couple of cars and some friends, and they totally cleaned the shop out. So that's closed permanently. Right next door to her is a shop that's empty now. Down this way, there's 2 shops that are empty. So what's happening with the shutdown and the lockdown, the overreacting by politicians who are afraid of kickback, and God forbid they get voted out of office and somebody else gets the money and the power, because that's what it's all about, is money and the power, is they're killing the small businesses. So who's going to come in and take those businesses? And I'll make videos when it happens. I'll show you exactly who takes over those spots. It's not going to be a small business person like who it was. It's not going to be a local Thai person. It's going to be 7-Eleven, because they got money. They always have money. And back in this little town, 2,000 people, there used to be one 7-Eleven, right? And I'm not beating them up. They got a right to make money as much as anybody else, but it's like Walmart. It's an infestation. There's probably 10 7-Elevens in town now. And it's like when I was growing up on the Jersey Shore, there was a friggin' 7-Eleven on every damn block. You don't need a friggin' 7-Eleven every friggin' block. You don't. You just don't. They could just stop at what they've got in town now, which is probably too many, but they won't. They will come in, corporate will come in and buy up some of these shops that are gone out and buy up their locations. What's happening with this lockdown? What's the result of COVID, right? And not because of COVID. This is really important that you guys pay attention. I'm not blaming COVID for the small business shutdown. I'm blaming the government and their reaction to COVID and then their handling of COVID. You understand? It's the result of actions by politicians that were in this spot. That people are unemployed and broke, and small businesses are shutting down, not big businesses. So I told you about the guy who was out of work because of COVID, furloughed, and I had him paint that lovely green you see behind us. The other day, the fan in this room was old and small. It used to be up there in the middle, and we had this table over there across the other window. So it was very noisy. Whenever I made a video or I did a Zoom call with my agents the other night, and I had to do it downstairs because the fan that was up there was probably 10, 15 years old, and it was small and it was loud. So the guy across the street with this says coffee, breakfast all day, right there, directly across the street from us, I found out through the Thai grapevine that he was going to have to close his shop, and he hadn't paid his rent in like 5 months. So we just got done negotiating with our landlord and got a COVID break. We saved 10,000 baht, which is huge. Now I can redo my numbers, and the number I have to gross every day isn't as much anymore to break even. So that's a huge relief. He was nice enough to give it to me for a year. So that's awesome. You know, for the next 12 months, just by asking, I saved 120,000 baht, $4,000, right? Is that right? Yeah, $4,000, roughly. Once again, you have to, with the 0.2 thing, you got to actually type it into a currency thing, but it's roughly $4,000. So, hearing that he was in trouble, I wanted a new fan. That's on me. I just, I didn't like the noisy, old, small fan in the wrong place since we moved the table. So I went to the local hardware store called TOA and got the biggest fan they had. I literally went in and with my Google Translator said, give me the biggest ceiling fan you have. And that was that sucker right up there. So not that much bigger than the standard one, but enough. We gained another, 2-3 inches. That can make a difference sometimes. It's rotating, which the other one wasn't. And it's quiet. You can barely hear it, and it's on full right now, on 3, top setting. So he came, the coffee shop guy. He worked part-time, side job, side hustle. He came with his ladder, and he changed the ceiling fan for me, and then took the old one, which once again it was working. It was just noisy, and I figured, where won't noise matter? Outside. So one of the things I didn't like, there's a lot of things I didn't like about the restaurant when I took it over, just being picky, whatever, just trying to make it better. One of the things I didn't like was we only had one fan in the outside dining room. So we had 3 tables cut sideways like this along that brick wall where we're going to build the deck. And the one fan was sort of not really kind of in the middle, but over to the right a little bit. So half of 2 tables got some fan. And the first table, which was actually closer to the tree, closer to the sun, wasn't getting any of the fan. So I had the guy take the old fan and put it downstairs, move the fan that was there over, so it's right square between the first 2 tables, and then the second fan, the old one that we brought from up here, brought downstairs, went in between the other 2 tables. So now we have 2 fans, and it covers the whole seating area, front, back, center, back, left, right. And once again, one of the big themes of this thing is I want to move to Thailand. I'm thinking about moving to Thailand. What's it cost to live there? So every video I do, I always talk about what it costs. What it costs to go to the market, what it costs to eat. And I paid the guy 500 baht. That's $15 US. $15. True. I mean, when I used to flip houses in Florida, and it would cost $50 US to change out a fan, one fan. And he took one out, put one down, took it downstairs, installed it with the switch and everything for $15 US. Now, once again, look at it on the Thai side. That might save that man's business. I don't know what his rent is. It's cheaper than ours because he doesn't have the parking lot. He doesn't have the guest house. It's just a little coffee shop. I would guess, I don't know, his rent is maybe 4,000 baht a month, something like that. So 500 baht to him. I hope it saves a business. I really do. I hope it helps. I mean, once again, you can eat here for 1,000 to 1,500 baht. So if nothing else, that's 2-3 weeks food for his family. Every little bit helps, guys.